Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. How are you, my students? I hope that you are happy and healthy and ready for today's lesson, which will be writing. Of course, these are the objective for today's lesson. At the end of this session, you will be able to differentiate between face-to-face and online learning. Face-to-face learning and online learning to compare two socializing types. Use phrases to state similarities. Use phrases to state differences, similarities and differences. And we took in the previous lesson, if you remember, we took the brain and storm. Once you use your brain and your other friends' brains to move the ideas around, it comes the concept brainstorming, which is a group discussion to produce ideas or solve problems. Brainstorming, you and your friends, a group, try to come up with a solution, and you bounce ideas. And remember, there are no bad ideas in brainstorming. This is just a process. Brainstorming, until you come up with the solution. Then we took this schedule for advantages and disadvantages of the internet. We said the advantages are online education, connecting people, e-commerce and entertainment. Online education, which we'll be talking about today. Disadvantages: the addiction, virus threat, information theft, and time waste. So once you use the internet, try to organize your time. Don't use it all the time. And remember to put virus protection so your information, private information, won't be stolen. So this is today's lesson. What do you see in these pictures? The first one here. What do you see in this picture? Very good. This is a picture of tables. They look like they are in a classroom. Very good. And the second one is, yes, you can see the second one is writing on a paper while watching his laptop. So what do these pictures indicate? What do these pictures indicate? Very good. They indicate face-to-face learning and online learning. We've experienced both. Online learning using your laptop or maybe your smartphone while taking notes. And of course, you're familiar with face-to-face learning. This from the term itself, face-to-face. It means not online using your laptop. It means that you are actually there in front of your teacher. So look at the photos and define face-to-face and online learning. Do you know anyone who is studying online? Do you know anyone who is still studying online? Would you prefer to learn online? Why or why not? Would you prefer learning online? Why or why not? Of course, there's no right or wrong answer here. This is your own preference. The second question: do you prefer to communicate with your teacher and classmates face-to-face? Why and why not? So, to sum it up, do you prefer online learning or face-to-face learning, and why? Why do you prefer online learning? Why do you prefer face-to-face learning? And what are the differences? What are the differences between online learning and face-to-face learning? Of course, this is a huge debate, a very big debate. Some people prefer online learning. They say it's much easier to access. You can use the media while teaching online. And some people, they prefer face-to-face learning. They say, I want to watch the teacher, to see his hand gestures. It helps me to understand the topic or the lesson more. So we'll be reading a text now. Read the text and answer the questions. What is the trend for university courses? Pay attention to the questions, which we will find the answers for in the next passage. Again, what is the trend for university courses? Number 2, what kinds of students opt for online courses? Remember, the opt is the same as choose. So what kinds of students choose to go for online courses? The third question, why do some students enroll in face-to-face courses? This is the same as the previous one. Why do they choose online? Who chooses online? And the people who choose face-to-face, why do they choose face-to-face courses? The last question, which type of course is more successful? Which type of course, the online course or the face-to-face course, which one is more successful? All of these questions, we will find the answer here in this passage, learning face-to-face and online. So let's listen now and try to answer the questions that we have read shortly. Let's listen.
There have been significant changes in education due to technology. The internet has played a determining role in transforming the face of education as we used to know it. More and more universities and colleges offer face-to-face and online course modes or blended versions that combine classroom face-to-face and email, social networking, or synchronous e-learning. Research has shown that students choose different options, depending on individual preferences, learning styles, and practical considerations. For example, working adult students prefer online courses as they offer the flexibility that they need to combine learning with work. In other words, individuals, whose time and/or mobility are restricted, are happier with online courses. On the other hand, a large number of students enroll in face-to-face courses as they feel that face-to-face instruction and communication with peers will help them understand concepts better and learn more effectively. They are not opposed to using email or social networks to communicate with peers but not with their instructor. On the contrary, online students find it easier to communicate with instructors by email as it frees them of inhibitions they might have about asking questions or raising issues face-to-face. Both groups defend their respective choice wholeheartedly. This is further demonstrated by success rates and learning outcomes. So, given the positive attitude to technology and the necessary skills, students will benefit from online courses as much as their counterparts in face-to-face contexts. What remains to be seen is if such courses will also benefit interpersonal skills and help people perform as members of a team.
So now that we have listened to this passage which talks about online learning versus the face-to-face learning, both groups of students have good points. Why do they choose face-to-face and why do they choose to go online learning? Remember, there's no right or wrong answer here. This is a personal preference. So let's try to answer the questions here. What is the trend for university courses? What is the trend, the thing that's going on now? What's the trend for university courses? Very good. They offer face-to-face and online course methods or blended versions that combine classroom face-to-face and email, social networking, or synchronous e-learning. So the trend is there are online courses or face-to-face courses, or combine them together using face-to-face and communicating with the teachers via social media or email, social networking, or synchronous e-learning. So the second question, what kinds of students opt for online courses? What kinds of students? Who are the students that choose to go for online courses? Very good. Working adult students. Working adult students. In other words, individuals whose time and or mobility are restricted. Whose time or mobility are restricted. They can't move as they want and their time is very tight. Are happier with online courses. If you are an adult at a university working a part-time job, so your time is a little bit tight, here, of course, you would prefer for going to online courses because time is crucial for these kinds of students. The third question, why do some students enroll in face-to-face courses? This is another question. The students who choose to go face-to-face learning, why do they choose face-to-face learning? They feel that face-to-face instruction and communication with peers, with their friends, with their colleagues, will help them understand concepts better and learn more effectively. So they choose that because they feel that being face-to-face with friends, with colleagues, and with the teachers, and seeing their movements, their gestures, this will help them to understand the lesson better and more effectively. So, which type of course is more successful? Which type of course is more successful? Of course, the answer is very obvious. Both are successful. Both are equally successful. It's not this or that. The information is getting to you either face-to-face or the online methods. So, read the text again and find out which paragraph. Of course, you know the word paragraph, the part of the article. Which paragraph, number 1, presents information about face-to-face courses? Which paragraph talks about face-to-face courses? The second one, which paragraph sets the scene and introduces the topic? Sets the scene, making you ready to read the article. Set the scene and introduce, from the word introduce, introduction, the topic. The third one, which paragraph presents information about online courses? Which paragraph talks about and gives information about online courses? The last one, which paragraph rounds up issues, trying to end the article, rounding up the issues, or wrapping up, as they say, the issues. So this is the article here. And as the previous question said, we have 4 paragraphs. This is the first one, this is the second one, this is the third one, and this is the fourth one. So the first one is called the introduction. Introduction. From the term itself, it introduces you to the topic. It doesn't indulge in the information. No, it sets your mind to read about this topic. Hence the name introduction. The second and third paragraphs here, this is called the body. The body. These here talk about the information itself, the topic itself. It's not an introduction. No, this is the main topic. This is where you talk about the topic. And the last one here, it's called the conclusion. This is where you conclude your ideas, you conclude what you talked about previously in the article. So, and also here, the first sentence in the introduction is called the topic sentence. The topic sentence. Here is where you know what the article is going to talk about. You see here the topic sentence. There have been significant changes in education due to technology. Changes in education because of technology. So you know now we're talking about education, and we're talking about 2 parts of education, the one using technology and the one that's not using technology. Here the second paragraph, the research has shown, this is an evidence. This is an evidence here, because from the sentence itself, research has shown. This is what we base our information on, from research. You have here, on the other hand, and on the contrary, this is where you give the opposite idea of what you said. On the contrary, or on the other hand, it means the other side of the topic or of the debate, let's say. When, for example, here you say we have online courses. On the other hand, we have face-to-face courses. And here, both groups defend their respective choice wholeheartedly. This is the first sentence of the summarization of the conclusion that both groups defend what they believe in. There is no right, no wrong answer. So let's listen again and try to answer the questions.
There have been significant changes in education due to technology. The internet has played a determining role in transforming the face of education as we used to know it. More and more universities and colleges offer face-to-face and online course modes or blended versions that combine classroom face-to-face and email, social networking, or synchronous e-learning. Research has shown that students choose different options, depending on individual preferences, learning styles, and practical considerations. For example, working adult students prefer online courses as they offer the flexibility that they need to combine learning with work. In other words, individuals, whose time and/or mobility are restricted, are happier with online courses. On the other hand, a large number of students enroll in face-to-face courses as they feel that face-to-face instruction and communication with peers will help them understand concepts better and learn more effectively. They are not opposed to using email or social networks to communicate with peers but not with their instructor. On the contrary, online students find it easier to communicate with instructors by email as it frees them of inhibitions they might have about asking questions or raising issues face-to-face. Both groups defend their respective choice wholeheartedly. This is further demonstrated by success rates and learning outcomes. So, given the positive attitude to technology and the necessary skills, students will benefit from online courses as much as their counterparts in face-to-face contexts. What remains to be seen is if such courses will also benefit interpersonal skills and help people perform as members of a team.
So now that we have listened to all of the paragraphs of the article, this is the first paragraph, this is the second paragraph, this is the third paragraph, and finally this is the last paragraph. So again the question, which paragraph presents information about face-to-face courses? Which paragraph talks about face-to-face courses? Very good. Paragraph number 3, or the third paragraph. So again, which paragraph sets the scene and introduce the topic? Very good. This is very easy. As we see here, this is again the third paragraph, which talks about the face-to-face courses. And again, I'm going to ask you, sets the scene. Which paragraph sets the scene and introduces the topic? Which paragraph sets the scene and introduces the topic? Very good. It's the first paragraph. It's the first paragraph as we see here. This is the paragraph that introduces the topic. That's why it's called the introduction. The third one, which paragraph presents information about online courses? Which paragraph gives us information about online courses? Yes, this is very obvious. Paragraph number 2, as we see here. Research has shown that students choose different options depending on individual preferences, learning styles, and particular considerations. For example, working adults, students prefer online courses. So the second paragraph is the paragraph that talks about online courses. The last one rounds up issues. Very good. It's very easy. It's the fourth paragraph, or we call it the conclusion. It's where you conclude and wrap up all your ideas. This is the fourth paragraph. Study the charts below. We'll be seeing them now. What is the topic for discussion shown in both? So I want you to answer all of these by yourself. Let's read them together. Write an essay comparing and contrasting the two ways of socializing and say which you prefer and why. The two ways, the online or the face-to-face. Write an essay about it. Think about the features of socializing with friends in person or face-to-face and socializing on the internet. The features, the goods and the bads. Make notes in the chart below. Are there things that you can do in both cases? Use your notes to write the essay. The fourth note here, exchange and read each other's draft essays. Suggest improvements. Once you finish taking the essay, the draft, exchange it with your friend or your colleague to give notes and suggest some improvements. Last one, revise, improve, and rewrite your essay. So here is the chart: socializing on the internet, socializing in person, or maybe you combine them together, both. You like socializing on the internet, or maybe in person. Study the charts below, and which is the topic for discussion shown in both. Write an essay, as I said before, comparing, contrasting the two ways of socializing, and say which you prefer and why. So this is the table here: socializing in person features, socializing online features, the same or different. So you have to fill this chart by yourself. You write here the features of socializing in person, and you write here the features of socializing online. Are they same or are they different? And here we'll take the writing corner. Let's read it together. In an essay, you often have to discuss the similarities or differences between two different situations, opinions, or ideas. Of course, you have to discuss the similarities and differences. That's why it's called a discussion. Use phrases to say what is similar. For example, likewise. This is how you say this is similar to that. Likewise, in the same way, similarly, as well as, both, etc. This is how you say things that are, this is what you use to phrase to say what is similar. You say likewise, in the same way, similarly, as well as, both. The second part, use phrases to say what is different. If you have something different. For example, you say in contrast, however, on the other hand, etc. So when you have another idea, not similar but different, you say on the other hand, and you say, for example, however, or you say in contrast. In contrast means the exact opposite idea. Provide examples to illustrate what you mean with phrases like, for example, as in, such as, in other words. Underline examples of phrases used in the text on page 14. Go back to page 14 for comparison and contrast, and explain why. And explain why they are used. Paragraph 4, line 1. Both groups defend is used to compare, because both groups, the online courses and the face-to-face group, is used to compare. Use phrases to state your preference and give reasons why. Your preference, when you say personally, and then you continue, it means that this is my preference. This is I choose to do that. Personally, I prefer, I'd rather, than, because the reason for this is. When you say personally, I prefer, this means this is your own opinion. And then you give the explanation, because the reason for this is. This is you explaining why did you choose, or why do you prefer to choose this, what you have chosen. And with this, we reach the end of this lesson. See you next lesson, inshallah. Subhanakallah wa bihamdik. Ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Assalamu alaikum.